Welcome to episode 2 of Regen Rovers Revelations, my little side series that is accompanying the main series of Regen Rovers. Episode 2 of the main series is out now, so make sure you go and watch that. There's not going to be an episode of Revelations for every single episode of the main series. I'll just release them when required, really. But of course, early stages of the series, I've got a few things to talk about. And today, we're going to be talking about the players. We're going to be talking about the Regen Rovers squad going into this first season, looking through them all in detail. And I've got something a little bit fun, I hope, for you guys to get involved with as well. But firstly, I want to let you know I have uploaded a database. I've not uploaded the exact Regen Rovers database yet. Quite a few people contacted me saying they didn't necessarily want to manage Regen Rovers, but they wanted to manage in a lower league, so down to tier 9, for example. And the ones on the Steam Workshop, the goal difference rules, they're a bit broken, so I fixed that and I've uploaded it. I've removed Regen Rovers from the database now. I've replaced them back with Hartley Whitney, so they're back where they belong. You might still be able to find Jack Young on the database. I'm not 100% sure if I've deleted him, but obviously he's not the chairman because there's no Regen Rovers. Now, feedback from episode 1 of Revelations where I talked about the database. Yes, lots of people want the Regen Rovers database, but there was a lot of people kind of sort of defending me and sort of saying it's probably best for you to maybe upload it at Christmas or in the new year when you've played a few seasons, so people aren't going to be comparing. There's not going to be people commenting on my videos saying, aha, I won the Champions League before you, blah, 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 etc. So they get my point of view. I'm not definitely saying that, no, I'm not going to upload it right now. But the top suggestion was actually from Joel Harris. He said I should replace Regen Rovers, just change the name, change a few things about them. So they're quite similar, but you can, for example, call them Regen Rebels. So people can play basically as Regen Rovers, but they're just slightly different. So there's not so much comparison there. So if people don't want to make their own team, remember I showed you how to make your own team. You can make Regen Rovers now yourself because I've showed you how to use the editor. So if you really, really, really want to, then you can do it. So hopefully you guys understand for the time being. I might change my mind tomorrow. I might just upload it. The other option is people saying I could just upload it for Patreons if any of them really want to play it. But, you know, I don't want to just limit it, I suppose. If I upload it, then it should be available to everyone. I don't know. I need to make a final decision. But you can now play on a lower league database all the way down to tier 9. The link for that is in the description below of all the other links to the series, including social media stuff, all that jazz. Anyway, let's get on with today's video. So in the regular episode 2 of the series, I did show you the first team squad, I showed you the players, but I want to show them in more detail, and I also want to show the under-23s and the under-18s to you. Not a huge number of under-18s, as you can see there. There are some grade up players that we could convert into regular regens, but they're even more useless than the players we have, I believe. I haven't really checked them out, but we will today. So I've done something interesting. I hope it's interesting. I've put together an Excel spreadsheet of all the players in the Regen Rovers squad, first team, under-23s and under-18s. I've got their name. I've got a nickname column. We've got their position, their date of birth, their birthplace, when they joined, so either at the start or during the first season. We'll have a column for when they leave, and also I might have some other columns, so for example their day job, just some background story that we create. I can add other things in over time as well. And I'm just going to document every single player that plays for Regen Rovers or is at the club. They don't necessarily have to play a single match. They just have to spend some time at the club. Now, what I want you guys to do is come up with some backstories for these players, so their day job. Maybe something else. Maybe you want to create a whole story surrounding a particular player. Might be because of their name or where they're born, or just you fancy a particular player and you want to come up with a story for them. Additionally, I'm happy for you guys to have some fun and create Twitter accounts for these players as well. The only thing in the future that I will say is that, of course, there's the Patreons. The top tiers will have players named after them, and I will give them the option of having their own Twitter account if they want to. Obviously, some of you will find this completely sad and stupid and no point to it, but I just like that side of the story side of things, and some people enjoyed it from the first series, so I'm hoping there's people that enjoy it in the second series as well, maybe even more so. You can create Twitter accounts, Instagram if you want as well. There is, of course, the Regen Rovers Instagram. And I will include it on the Discord. I've got a channel on the Discord. I'll just show you actually, where I've listed all of the social media accounts. If you do want to join the Discord, there is a link in the description below to join the Regen Rovers Discord and get involved with all the guys here. We've got over 300 people now, which is brilliant. But you can see I've kind of split it into the official ones I control, and then there's some unofficial ones. There's 2 fan Twitter accounts that have been created, and I can let everyone know who's controlling each one. The members of the Discord. If you don't want to join the Discord, then don't worry, I can still put those links in here. But stick your links in the description below. But most importantly, I want to know their day job. I want to know stuff about these players. Maybe some suggestions for nicknames, depending on the players. Maybe we'll develop them over time, the nicknames. But for a Jeremy Cook best, of course, I suggested Chef, Captain Cook, just Jeremy. I don't really know. I kind of feel like he needs a nickname. He's our captain and he's just got a nicknameable name, if that makes sense. Most of the team was born in Winchester because they're all the ones that started at the club. They're all born and bred in Winchester. So remember, Winchester's quite an affluent place. So you might want some of these players to be from families with money. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to just look through every single player. You can start to think about day jobs for these players. Of course, you'll remember that Jeremy Cook Best is a chef. And I've also decided that Joey Ford is an apprentice at a Ford dealership in Southampton. That just made sense to me. They're all young, remember. Some of them will be at college. Some of them might be going off to university. So there's different things here that we can have. But there are older players who might have been working for a while now. So Aaron Trollope, first of all, 22 years old, born in Winchester. Now, goalkeeper-wise, he likes to rush out, doesn't he? Good agility and good rushing out. I've marked everything 14 or above with gold. Try and match our colours as best as possible. And then green is kind of the second tier things. White, and then we've got grey. Anything below, I think, 4 is grey. So he doesn't look amazing, but I mean, handling 9 is okay. Reflex is 8. Comparing him to Gigalvin, they're a bit different actually. There's similarities. I mean, Gigalvin doesn't really want to play as a sweeper keeper, whereas Aaron Trollope does, I think. Yeah, and that suits our system. I don't know why I've selected a sweeper keeper in lower league, but there we go. Gigalvin's more about his aerial reach. You know, aerial reach 13, jumping reach 12. That's fantastic. But tendency to punch 9, so he's more than likely going to attempt to catch the balls, possibly. Reflexes are very impressive, and handling 8. Aggression 14, though, which is very high, but that's the same for a lot of our regens. Determination's very high. He should turn into a very good player. Trollope's a bit older. Still very young for a goalkeeper, though, so he could be around for a few years, depending on how far we progress. But Gigalvin's got that potential. So, you know, there's a possibility that he could be the number 1. Let me know your thoughts, guys. If there's any players that stand out to you, anything that you think, wow, they look really good, maybe you should play them. Really good at this level. Remember, we're comparing ourselves to the 7th tier. And of course, if you watched episode 2, we actually won our first game, which was just a massive surprise for me. We've looked at Jeremy Cook Best a lot. We don't really need to focus on him too much, but he's all about those sort of mental attributes, leadership and teamwork. Also very good at marking, as you can see there. Let's move on to Jamie Kirkwood then, who's on loan from Woking. A good defender. He's our second best centre-back at the club. If we look at him here, behind Cook Best. He's only 17. I remember I could only really get players on loan. It was very frustrating. But yeah, he's not bad. He's got very good teamwork, good natural fitness. Some physical stats are quite good, but I mean, I'd rather him have good strength as a centre-back than really good balance and acceleration. Marking's very strong. Heading's poor, even though he can jump high, and then he's just going to head it into his own goal, I presume. But still, 5 is okay at this level. It's not disastrous. So if he had 1 on heading, then I'd be a bit worried. Tom Newell is our left back. He's our second oldest player in the team, behind Cook Best. He's 28 years old. Cook Best is actually about to turn 29 soon, so he might not be in the team that long compared to some of these other players. Some of these players, well, most of these players probably won't be in the team that long, because I don't think anyone's going to be able to ride up the divisions with us unless we have a really big surprise. Our youth recruitment's very good, so perhaps the first youth academy players that come through in March, April time, they possibly could be the ones that rise up the leagues with us. But this is the original. This is the original team, the original Regen Rovers team. Tom Newell is our best player, according to my assistant. Technically, he's average at this level for quite a few things, but he's good. He is good at this level. Richard Brown, he's probably going to be our backup left back and right back. He's versatile, can play either side. He's improving, only 16 years old. He's going to be 17 in December. We've got a lot of players with decent leadership, I've found. Some really good mentals. Physically, he's all right, and he's improving, so that's good news. Robin Grigg, number 1 right back. He's not... I mean, I suppose I could play Richard Brown right back. He would prefer to play left back, though, but I think Richard Brown does have better attributes than Robin Grigg. I do like the name Robin Grigg, though. It's great. However, this guy is good mentally. You know, if he gets forward, he's going to be terrible trying to beat players with his 2 on dribbling and 4 on crossing. However, mentally quite strong, so possibly a little bit better defensively. And physically, natural fitness is very high. So hopefully he'll be okay throughout the season in regards to not getting too tired between matches. Tom Rooney, defensive midfielder on loan from Gosport, just down the road, quite a way down the road. Gosport is it's almost like an island. There's one road into Gosport. I've been a couple times for my job, and getting in and out, it's just awful. It really is. But it is Hampshire, so he's Hampshire born and bred. And I loaned him firstly because I was struggling to find players, but secondly I thought if I need a defensive midfielder, this guy's actually reasonably good. 12 tackling. His aggression's a bit high and mixed with low bravery. I'm not sure that's going to work well. He would have been brilliant if he had high tackling, high bravery and high aggression. That would be fantastic. Things like concentration, marking, positioning are okay. Physically pretty average. But, you know, he should work well for us if he needs to come off the bench. And maybe I'll switch to a defensive midfielder at some point. But I'm just playing 2 standard. I'm playing a central midfielder on support and a central midfielder on attack. I don't want to have too many weird and niche roles at the moment. I'm just keeping it simple because I feel like that works well at this level of football. Tyler Jenkins started at the club, born in Winchester. I'm surprised he's got such a low current ability, only 2.5 grey stars, whereas his potential ability is pretty high. It might be because he's 16, he's about to turn 17, but I'm surprised that's so low. It might be that my assistant's got that wrong. Because he's got good passing at this level. Teamwork's high. Aggression is a little bit too high with low bravery once again and low tackling. Jump and reach is good, which is a bit random, but he's only got 2 on heading. And he can take a free kick. So I think the attribute, I suppose it's because his attributes are a bit of a mishmash. He's not particularly good at his position. He's got attributes in certain, teamwork and passing, they're important for midfield, I suppose. We'll see if he plays a part in the first team. I might move him down to the under-23s. Ben Mullen. I really like this guy. He's 26, born in Winchester. We need to come up with a really good job for him because he is 26 years old. Remember, they're all part-time players. Barely that because, what's his contract? He earns 50 quid every time he plays. So he's really not earning very much at all. But he's got very good crossing for this level. By very good 10. That is good for this level. Physically decent, good acceleration, a little bit slow with the pace, but he can run for days because he's got very good fitness and stamina. Determination's high as well. Everything else is pretty awful, to be honest, but he's played quite well for me. He stood out for me in pre-season, and he got an assist in the first league match as well. Kingsley Okafor on loan from Cheshire. Now I got this guy because he's got good passing, good teamwork. Physically, there's some decent attributes there. He should work hard for us in the middle, alongside Sean Walker, who's also on loan. Born and bred in East Sussex. Is it East Sussex or West Sussex? I think it's East Sussex. I need to Google now. It's the county town of East Sussex. Yeah, Lewis. I've never been there. I should go there one day. I think it's quite a nice place. Anyway, really good passing, and he scored a goal on his debut, of course, on his competitive debut. Also scored in pre-season. Goal and an assist. He was our man of the match with an 8.0. Really good stuff from him. I suppose I could add goals and assists and man of the match average rating each season. So I have a season 1 section, season. Possibly. It's going to take a hell of a long time to do that, though. I'm not sure I've got the time. It took ages to put that together. But yeah, I really like the look of Sean Walker. Russell Higgs, left winger. Now he's apparently really good. Well, my assistant likes him anyway, but I'm not really sure why. I suppose it's because he's average at everything. There's not a huge amount that lets him down, I suppose. Crossing and dribbling of 7 is okay. Physically okay. Work rate, yeah, we'll have to see what happens to him, but he is really young. He's only turned 17 a couple months ago. Matthew Ratty, Cracking name. I'm sure there's a nickname just Ratty. I mean, it's just good on its own, isn't it? But physically strong. But everything else pretty poor apart from determination and aggression. Like, crossing is not ideal, but it could be worse, I suppose. But his physicals are really impressive. Ray Rigg. Great name as well. Now, he's an interesting one. Now, I've actually started training him up, I think. I haven't, because my game crashed. I remember in episode 2, my game crashed, so I started training him up in the gap. So, yeah, so I lost that. So, in fact, what I wanted to do was train him up as a pressing forward, because I feel like he could do a job. I don't know why. You know, I don't think he's got the attributes to become a really good attacking midfielder. We don't play an attacking midfield at the moment. I mean, 6 on passing, 8 on vision. It's all right, but is it going to improve to the level that we want from an attacking midfielder? And his finishing's poor, so it's not like he could just be, an attacking midfielder who shoots rather than an advanced playmaker. Whereas, I don't know where to play him, but apparently he's got good... Maybe someone can suggest. I'm going to train him as a pressing forward for the time being. If someone convinces me to go for something else, then let me know. Because I don't really know where he could be good for us, if I'm honest. But he's got decent potential and okay current ability as well. John Parsons, left winger, started the first league game, scored in pre-season, got an assist as well. He's 23 years old, so he's one of the more experienced players in the team. Physically strong, really pacey. I think he's our fastest player. He's got that aggression again. Really good leadership. He is actually our assistant deputy captain. What's it called? Vice captain. Trying to think of the word. Yeah, he's our vice captain. Technically pretty awful. Crossing and dribbling okay though. Ross Bradley. Now, he could be our first choice left winger. Mentally he's better. Physically not quite as good as Parsons. And technically probably slightly better. It's the same crossing and dribbling. So it's those two fighting for that place. But Ross Bradley does have the potential because he's younger, of course. Joey Ford. An apprentice at a car dealership. Now, physically impressive. He's fast. But everything else, apart from determination, is pretty awful. There's a lot of 1s there, and 2s and 3s and 4s. Crossing on fire. I just don't see him really doing much, apart from maybe coming on and adding some pace if we need it. But the final third, he's just not going to do anything, is he? I think he's probably better off pursuing his other career. Ross Andress, 25 years old, our number 1 striker. Not the ideal attributes for a poacher, which is why I'm playing him as a pressing forward. He's got that natural fitness, acceleration, aggression. Hopefully will chase things down. Heading ability. I mean, I would say he could be a good target man, but he can't jump. He's only got 5 on jumping reach. But finishing 7, composure 8, off the ball 8 isn't the greatest, is it? But he is our best striker apparently. Now, Henry Knowles. On loan from Billericay. Essex boy like me. I haven't really talked about the regen faces much, actually, in my view. They're definitely better than FM18. Oh, they were terrible in FM18. It's probably one of the main reasons why I just didn't want to do a long-term save on FM18, because the regen faces were just atrocious. Oh, anyway, they are definitely better on FM19. There's still room for improvement, of course. Anyway, Henry Knowles, 3 on finishing. What is going on there? But his composure and off the ball are really good, and he's quite fast. So he might be able to... He might get lucky. He might be able to get a few goals simply because of that composure off the ball and pace. But it might take him a few attempts to actually stick the ball in the back of the net because of his finishing. We shall see. Morgan Fawkes scored on his debut. 14 on finishing. He's the opposite of Knowles, because he's got really good finishing. Composure off the ball, not the best. He's not really physically any good. This guy can jump, but he can't head. He's the opposite of Andres. I mean, they're confused. If I could combine some of these players, just merge them into one, we'd have some really good players actually at this level. But I like him. Dan O'Sullivan. Now he's a good striker, but he's a mix of everything. He's got decent finishing, good composure. Off the ball's quite low. Accelerate. Yeah, he's all right. We'll see. He came off the bench for the last few minutes on his on the first match against Weymouth. It's all an unknown quantity at the moment. Let's move on to the under-23s then. I did sign a few players for this team on a free. Jamal James is one of them. Goalkeeper, born in 1999. I don't know about him. This is how good our goalkeepers are, apparently. We do have Lewis McLean as well, who I'll show you in a second, who's apparently on a par with Gagalvin. But Jamal James, reflexes 11 is impressive. Teamwork 16 is not necessarily important for a goalkeeper, I guess. There's some okay attributes and there's some really worrying attributes like handling of 4. Lewis McLean, our third best goalkeeper, possibly joint second best goalkeeper with Gail. I like his agility. Rushing out 10. Maybe plays as a bit of a sweeper keeper, I suppose. Teamwork's high, determination. Everything else is all right. But he's only 19, so he could improve, I suppose. Next up, Ben Gail, a centre-back. Heading 3. Not the best, is it, for a centre-back? Jumping reach 10, though. So he can jump. Then, like we've had, how many players do we have that can jump but can't head, and can head but can't jump? This is irritating. Joe Colburn, 20-year-old centre-back. There's a lot of really poor technical attributes here. But for the ones that are important, marking and tackling, okay. Heading, terrible. I tried to sign as many players on a free as possible, and one of them was this guy, even though he's probably never going to play in the first team. Although positioning's good, work rate, leadership, determination, jump and reach. There's a few decent attributes, technically just worrying though at centre-back. Matthew Warren might be related to my wife. For those that don't know, by the way, I know some people still refer to me as Paul Holden. That's my original name. When I got married, I went double-barreled to Paul Holden Warren. So that's the story there. So maybe this guy's related to my wife. Who knows? There's a lot of Warrens out there. It's not exactly the rarest name, is it? But yeah, Matthew Warren, 16 years old, really young. He's going to be 17 in a month. He's an aggressive lad, but he can mark a player. So he can aggressively mark someone with some good jumping reach and terrible heading. It's just annoying. Scott Bancroft, centre-back or left-back. Once again, heading 3, but jumping reach 13. He's incredibly aggressive, this guy. He's going to get sent off, isn't he? Leon Hogg, another left midfielder. He's pacey, relatively pacey. Crossing of 6. Yeah, teamwork. Once again, teamwork. We've got such good teamwork and aggression. Toby Douglas, 17-year-old right midfielder or left midfielder. Another aggressive player. Another determined player with good teamwork and good natural fitness, but everything else not the best. You might spot a player here that you think's better than a first team player, so let me know and I'll swap them around if I agree. Richie McCormack, an attacking midfielder, passing a 6, vision of 7 not the best, teamwork, leadership, these attributes. It's just the same old story with pretty much the entire team, isn't it? They're all quite similar. Callum Moore, left midfielder, crossing 6, dribbling 6, acceleration 12, pace 7, good leadership and teamwork again, and work rate as well. Leon Perryman, a striker who can play attack midfield as well. Now 10 on finishing, composure 7, off the ball 8, okay pace. You know, maybe he could do a job. Maybe he'd be slightly better than these other options. We've got plenty of strikers in the team. In the first series, we just couldn't find strikers, so I've certainly got options if players aren't scoring. Nathan Cole's finishing at 14. However, everything else, off the ball 2, really slow as well. Composure 7. But that finishing of 14, it might get him in the first team at some point. We'll see how it gets on in the under-23s. Under-18s then, there's only 6 players. Ross Davey is a goalkeeper. Reflex is 15. You know, that's good. He might go somewhere. You never know, he's only 16. Jake Pittman, right back or centre back. There's not much difference between these players and the under-23s, really. It's not much difference between these players and the first team. And once again, jumping reach high with heading of 5. Johnny Allen can play anywhere along the back line. Seems to be declining in certain areas, but improving his corners for some reason. Jumping reach 14, heading 5. It's just frustrating. There's something wrong with this. This isn't. How can they learn? How can they all jump so high and not someone? Why didn't they get taught how to head at a young age if they saw that they could jump like a salmon? I don't know. Anyway, Thomas Mental, he looks okay actually, mentally good. He's probably the best penalty taker in the whole team with 13. I've not seen anyone with higher than that. That's for sure. I don't think, unless you spotted someone as I've gone through. But I think he's our best penalty taker. And maybe I'm going to put him in the under-23s. I quite like the look of him. They'll all play in the under-23s anyway because we don't have enough players. And there'll be players playing in the under-23s for the under-18s as well, maybe. Or these greyed out players will play. And we might spot a gem. Dave Reynolds, finishing 9, off the ball 10. Not bad, actually. This guy might be okay. I'll keep an eye on him. And Kevin Morrow, likewise, good composure. He's pacey. Finishing's a bit low. But he's not dissimilar, really, to Henry Knowles in the first team, is he? I don't think so. Perhaps Moro could be slightly better. I'll quickly just scroll through these greyed out players, but they're all basically going to be the same with like 6, 8s, 5s. They might be a bit more well-rounded than some of our players, actually. But I'll just quickly go, just in case there's someone. There's a gem. Because if you give them a contract, they turn into regens. Or new gens. I know they're called new gens. Justin Hannis. Dane Crook. George Hickman. Oh! Concentration 10, positioning 10. He could be a centre-back, couldn't he? 6. Oh, this guy. I feel like I need to give this guy I'm going to do it. I said in the first series this wasn't... I didn't really want to do this, but I feel like it's okay. Because if we offer him a contract... Wait a second. Has he turned into one yet? I suppose I need to continue. He's not turned into a proper player yet. So if he doesn't, then I'll release him. Because I need proper regens. Pure regens, as I called them in the first series. But yeah, Hickman looks okay if he does turn into a real player. Kyle Myers, David King, and Phil Greenwood. But yeah, Hickman's the only one that stands out. If I just continue... There we go, he's turned into one. I said he would. Oh, but he's got worse. What? That is unfair. He had 10 on concentration and 10 on positioning, and you've ruined him, Football Manager. Apparently his current ability is 1 star, though. So he could actually be good enough for the first team because he's just basically average at everything. That's not a bad player. Maybe I should do this with the greyed out players. Let me know. Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Maybe it's cheating. I don't think it's not cheating. It's a player the game's given me. It's just not giving him an actual... Where's he born? I'm interested. Hickman. We'll have to add him to the spreadsheet, won't we? It doesn't actually say where he was born because it's unknown. So he's born in England. George Hickman. Maybe that's why we can't have these players because they're not actual proper regens. But never mind. That's it. A nice long video where I showed you all of the players. Let me know backstories. Let me know if you want to set up Twitter accounts, etc. Stick all your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for your support on the series so far. It really does mean a lot. I'm not sure when the next Revelations episode will be. Basically, it will be released when it's, like I said at the start, when it's required. So it might be a few days or weeks until episode 3 of Revelations. I can't imagine it to be that long. I actually quite enjoy this sort of behind the scenes things, just looking at things in more detail. For example, I could look at training, doing a Revelations episode on training and show you what I'm doing. Because I'm not doing anything at the moment because it is literally just part-time training, of course. Robin Grigg seems to be training really well at the moment. It's always the old players that don't do very well in training and the young players that do really well. That's what I've noticed anyway. But thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. But until next time, enjoy Football Manager 2019. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you very soon.